It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Conowitz and Nate Laux. And here's the podcast.
Oh, it's so good to have you back, Bradford.
I don't know
if you even heard last week we had a fill-in for you.
Last week you had an old Transformer do the intro, I think.
It wasn't that
literally
bad.
People did not get past it. They turned it off.
You had an old cassette tape ran through some kind of
Brad,
like broken down tape recorder.
Brad, say, and here's the podcast, and then I'm going to say, and here's the podcast. And audience, you tell us.
And here's the podcast. Oh, yeah. See, yeah, you sound like slow motion Groot.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't sound really good, does it?
No.
Sorry, buddy.
It's okay. You'll never be Optimus Prime.
It's good.
I'm Optimus Subprime.
Mm-hmm.
It is good to have you back, though, buddy. You feeling better?
Yes. For the most part, I still have a little bit of, I guess, cough/congestion, but it's definitely not death warmed over anymore. I have my health mostly back.
Well, good deal. Hey, did you get a chance to watch this episode of Saturday Night Live?
No, I decided to skip this one entirely.
Me too, Nate. You're on your own.
Yeah, sorry. So we're going to listen to you and we'll just be like, oh, that sounds like it was maybe
like
good.
Fine sketch.
Well, you guys missed something this week that was pretty big.
What?
Cecily Strong has left the show.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Where's she going?
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon. Yeah, that was big news that broke just a few hours before the episode aired. NBC announced it through their Twitter, or the SNL Twitter account announced it anyway, saying that they were going to be saying farewell to Cecily Strong. And, of course, people were sad, and it was definitely a heartfelt goodbye, which we will talk about in more detail as we break down the episode. This is the last episode of 2022. Almost to the midpoint of the season. Not quite, but...
It's not quite, but I do consider it the midpoint.
Exactly. So this was an episode hosted by Austin Butler, who, if you don't know him, he played Elvis in Baz Luhrmann's movie Elvis. And we had musical guest Lizzo joining him. And this is how we're going to close out the year.
And Austin Butler would say, and here's the podcast.
That's true.
He's got a very deep, sexy voice.
He's got a very deep voice, but
Very
is it...
Here's the podcast, baby.
Is it?
No, it's not Elvis, but it is very deep.
He does kind of sound like his Elvis a little bit, though.
That's what I wonder, because I feel like he didn't sound like Elvis that much before Elvis.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of adopted it and then just like, I'm going to be Elvis now.
It's interesting because he's very good in Elvis, don't get me wrong, but once I heard his real voice, I was like, oh, he's not changing that much.
Or maybe he did change it for the Elvis impersonation, like Nate just said, and he's kept it.
That's possible too, but I don't know. Seems like a weird choice.
Okay.
All right. You guys want to talk about Cecily Strong for a second and what she means to the show, or do you want to wait for that?
We'll wait for that. We'll do that because that's how the show ended.
No.
Whoops.
No, we're not talking about her tonight. All right. Let's start off. Last week, we got treated to a wonderful cold opening. It still touched a little bit of political, cultural commentary, but it was not technically a political cold open. This week, we got Trump NFT cold open written by Mike DeCenzo, Allison Gates, and Ken Sublett. Donald Trump, played by James Austin Johnson, talks about his recent NFT sales, amongst other topics, and includes appearances by Donald Trump Jr., played by Mikey Day, and Kimberly Guilfoyle, played by Cecily Strong. I've always found it was odd that Ben had a big crush on Kimberly Guilfoyle. Do you?
You're such an ass.
All right. So I will say, one of the things I do when I'm preparing for these episodes is I look at the sketches on YouTube trending.
Hey, we do
see,
too. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No. So let me say this before I say the word YouTube and get attacked for this. I do watch the episodes on Peacock now. All right, for Bradford specifically.
For everybody.
No, for you.
For everybody.
Because I don't care. But I do watch it for you in a row. But then I go to YouTube because I'll watch a lot of the sketches again because I want to catch some things there. And one of the things I do is I go to the YouTube trending and see which of the sketches really hit hard because those are, I'm just always interested by it. Because some of the sketches that I don't typically like are some of the ones that end up trending, right?
Sure.
This was the one that trended from this episode, actually.
Of course it did.
So what did you think of this? We've been talking about we don't love the political cold openings. Not that you can't have political commentary, but just, Trump Fox News kind of stuff. Ben, what did you think of this cold open?
So James Austin Johnson, a little off his game on the Trump stuff. He's known for really knocking these monologues out of the park and not stumbling over any words. I mean, he really is. And he 3 or 4 times kind of fucked up his lines a little bit, and that was a little jarring for me because I just have seen him do it so well for so long. It's kind of like the one time I saw Alex Moffat do a guy who just bought a boat and kind of really screw up the lines, and he was just so good at it that it just kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't totally ruin it whatsoever, but it was noticeable. We've done the Trump list now 5 or 6 times. It's worn on me enough now where I'm like, okay, this is I'm now more concerned on connecting the dots on my own on how they're going to get there on the right side of the screen. And I'm not really listening to them all that much because I'm trying to say, how are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? And it's becoming a little lazier.
Yeah, I loved the Trump list stuff in the beginning.
It's getting lazy.
I'm kind of over
Yeah.
it
It's getting
now.
lazy.
And I understand the appeal of making fun of something that is just so, rich with potential of Trump doing basically the equivalent of what a used car salesman is doing today, which is by making NFTs and selling them. But like they just can't do anything with it that was worth doing the sketch. Like, sure, some of the NFTs they created were mildly amusing.
Again,
But
though,
they weren't that far away
Yeah.
from the
Exactly.
reality.
That's the thing, and
I
that,
couldn't
that's
tell which
always
ones were.
that's always been the biggest problem with Trump in general, even
Yep.
with James Austin Johnson, is that you can barely do anything that is any more ridiculous than the real man himself, no matter how good Austin's impression is.
Have you seen? And this is, I'm being serious. Have you seen the NFTs? Like, have you
I've seen some of them.
All right, so
You guys will be seeing them this Christmas.
at $99, it's a steal. Brad, I'll ask you then point blank: was him as an astronaut a real one?
Yes.
Okay, see, I really don't know this. Was him? I'm guessing the one of him as a cowboy was not.
No, that one was real. And actually,
Wait, the cowboy's real?
The cowboy one was real, and it was actually really funny because somebody did a reverse image search, and they found that the coat that he was wearing was like a Google image of like a coat that you could buy,
Of
and they
course.
just photoshopped it.
Oh
and
my God.
yeah,
All right, so the ones that were definitely fake were him on top of the red and blue elephant.
I don't know. Actually, I think that one might have been real.
Oh my God,
I don't know.
this
think
is crazy.
I
Yeah.
would have, if you wanted to do this sketch, I probably would have done more of like explaining the concept of NFTs to Donald Trump. Because again, I still don't really fully understand NFTs, right?
Yeah.
I know they're non-fungible tokens. I know the concept of them. I don't get why they're valuable still. I mean, I know that they
Well, that's the thing is they're like people think they are, but they're really not.
I know. And so this idea of like that maybe, and you could have done some commentary on NFTs, which are really not a thing anymore. I feel like that whole bubble
It
burst
crashed with the
So,
the FTX exchange crash and all that. I mean, it's all kind of going away, but
Like, so
it's
for me, the
weird.
comedy was in that, like the president doing NFTs now
Right.
after the crash happened. The former president, still the president for me.
Whoops.
But
said the quiet part out loud there, Nady boy.
so that would have been something I think would have been a little more funny.
Yeah, like go down the rabbit hole of other things that have passed their prime where he's trying to hawk. Like that's
Or-
maybe a better idea.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there are other things.
Even
yeah.
better, don't do it.
Did you watch? I know you were very sick last week, Brad. Did you watch the episode last week?
Oh yeah, of course.
So the cold
I
opening.
provided commentary on it.
That's right. The cold opening, though, right? Because we didn't really get to talk about this with you.
Yeah.
You got to experience that as well. That it was done in such a way that you could still include political commentary, and it was just done, I think, so much more subtly, which made the humor better. I feel like with the Trump stuff, they hit you over the head with it,
Yeah.
and it becomes not funny anymore.
It's you guys are actually both right. I'll say it for the first time ever. You're both right. Brad is right because you can't parody something that's already so silly, and Nate is right because you shouldn't parody something when you could do something different and make it more subtle, and it would be funnier. So on both accounts, pick your poison. You're both right.
Yeah.
This was not great.
All right, moving on. Austin Butler's monologue, written by Mike DeCenzo and Jake Nordwin. First-time host Austin Butler talks about how his voice has always sounded like it has. I don't believe that, since people say he actually sounds like Elvis, and about his deceased mother, who he says would be proud that he is hosting on a Saturday Night Live.
Nate, I got to start with you, buddy.
You put in a dead mom in there.
Yeah.
and I'm on board.
I was going to say, did it hit a little bit of the heartstrings for you?
It did, actually, because there was a section there where I could tell he was getting emotional.
He really was, and Bailey
I thought that was very endearing.
Yeah, it was adorable.
And I felt like he meant it.
Yes.
I did look it up. I think his mom died in 2014, so it's not that long ago.
Didn't come across disingenuous whatsoever.
No, he seemed likable. I don't know a ton about Austin Butler, honestly, other than I've seen a couple of his roles, but I don't know a ton about his like personal life or anything. But I actually really enjoyed him here.
I thought maybe for the
endearing.
first time ever they were going to do a callback joke, and he was going to try to announce that he was also pregnant, because the outfit kind of looked like Keke Palmer's, with like a low-cut neckline.
Yeah.
And I really thought, oh my God, are they going to do it? That'd be incredible. They never do that. And then, of course, they didn't.
No, he was just being sexy hot guy with a suit coat with no shirt on.
Yeah,
He
cool.
can pull that off.
Yeah, fine.
You could pull
I can
it
too.
off.
I can too. So could you, buddy.
I mean, I can pull off any coat I put on, but no one wants to see that.
What do you think about this, Brad?
No, it was a really nice monologue. I really liked how genuine it was, how endearing it was, and it was just really, really sweet. And again, he had you could tell that he really is kind of shy, because he did have a quiet confidence about him, as opposed to like being out there being like, hey, I'm hosting SNL and I'm da da da. Like he carries himself very well. He was very composed. He didn't seem nervous. He seemed shy though, and that came through. And so
it was believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are differences in confidence earned, right? He has had to earn his confidence, and he did. But like you said, it's not like the three of us jokers that get up and we have not earned our confidence. We just owned it.
Yeah. No, I love the idea that he clearly meant what he said, and his mom would be proud of him. He knows that. It broke him up a little bit, and it was very, very adorable, honestly. But also, I'm the one on this show that always says, I watch that monologue to see how I think the host is going to do, and I'm like, man, did he find a cheat code for getting everybody on his side? Because like that's the way to do it, you know, like a little dirty secret there. Hey, make people love you in the monologue, and they're going to root for you the entire time and laugh maybe when you didn't earn it, So that set us up for what I thought was going to be, all right, I'm going to root for this guy, and then the wheels fell off.
All right, moving on. The Phrase That Pays, written by Jake Norbin and Ken Sublett. 3 game show contestants, Austin Butler, Punky Johnson, and Heidi Gardner, compete while Butler's character magically knows all the answers, James Austin Johnson plays the game show host. Brad, James Austin Johnson versus Keenan as game show host. Who do you like better?
Keenan's more fun. James Austin Johnson feels like he skews more towards the Bill Hader style of show host, which I still like, because he has a different he has like a real game show host voice, and so I like him in that role.
Keenan can save a sketch though,
yes,
right, as a game show host.
Yes, that's true. I did like the delivery of when they said, so it's basically Wheel of Fortune on the wheel. He's like, that's not nice.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this sketch?
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about escalation, because that's not really what this was about for me, like the why it didn't necessarily work, even though that is a problem with it. Like it didn't really go anywhere, but it wasn't necessarily for lack of escalation. It was just that the bit got so old so quick that I was just left with like, what are we doing here? Like I just didn't understand it.
And it wasn't very clever either.
No,
like
exactly.
Even the ultimate ending of where what he says ends up being the puzzle. Like it's not that funny, It's like
we always talk about the other thing is like the grounded nature of it, where
Yeah.
in the real world, is this a believable enough premise?
Yeah.
And this isn't at all.
Yeah, there's something about the logic of like that being the ultimate ending that just like it didn't make sense to me. Like I was like why? Like it's not nonsensical enough to feel to be that funny and worth doing, but it's also not like alternative enough to make sense in a nonsensical way, if that makes sense.
No, seriously, that's exactly how I would put it, which is weird, but that's, actually that I'm looking at my board, and that's exactly what the answer was. So congratulations.
I also felt, so you've got 4 characters in this, right? Almost 5, because the board is almost a character in this sketch, right? But you've got 4 characters. 3 of them are contestants. I don't know what Punky Johnson was doing in this sketch to add to the comedy, right? She's playing the straight person a little bit, right? A little bit offended.
She said mama.
Yeah, but that didn't add any comedy. Heidi had one good joke about the ex, but then wore it out, right? And so it just, like you said, there was no escalation, but there was also just not a lot of humor. Like there was a couple good jokes. There were a couple times where I'm like, okay, Heidi, like
when there wasn't actually an ex in it.
Yeah,
Was
like-
actually that's one of the only times I laughed.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked when Austin Butler said I'll do a B because I'm a bad bitch, you know.
And she's like, "What?"
Yeah.
There were those little moments in it, right? But like overall, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
The whole time, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Was there a way, do you think, to save this sketch in the premise it was at, or it's just not a funny enough premise? Do you think?
I never.
I'm not an SNL writer. Like
What?
I do
Since when?
I do consider myself to be a funny person. I'll be confident enough to say that. But like I don't necessarily know like the way to fix this sketch. You know, I just recognize that it's not particularly funny.
Yeah.
Now, me on the other hand, I have about a list of 9 things we could have done. Number 1, Keenan as the host, not James Austin, whatever his name is.
I actually wonder if that would have helped
just
because James Austin Johnson's fine here, but there wasn't enough comedy, and Keenan could save a little bit of it, maybe.
You know what a fun idea might be is where the puzzles reveal things about the contestants that are secrets and that they don't want out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that could have been something.
Or
Yeah, I
the
like
puzzles are literally the last thing that was like you said, all 3 of them are cheating on their spouses.
Yeah.
And it's the last text message that they sent to the spouse, the mistress or mister or whatever. That would be really funny.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny because then they could incredulously react and be like, "Wait, how did you get this?"
I don't know. Why would that be my
one of the contestants looking really guilty, right?
Okay, guys. And then one of them really leaned into it. Yeah, I said it.
Cuts to a spouse in the crowd just looking sheepish.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Leslie Jones, when they would cut to her in the crowd as the disappointed wife,
That's
that
always
was some
funny.
of her best reactions
yeah.
right there. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Pre-tape, A Christmas Epiphany, written by Andrew Dismukes and only Andrew Dismukes. A man played by Austin
that
Butler is seen by a family, played by Heidi Gardner, Andrew Dismukes, Sarah Sherman, and Marcelo Hernandez. Austin Butler has a great James Stewart-esque presence, silver screen. When I saw him in this, I'm like, oh, he seems classically beautiful.
I was like,
you know?
why is James Franco in this sketch?
Yuck.
No, he just looked like him.
Yuck.
Okay, you know what?
I actually genuinely really enjoyed this. I thought it was funny.
You love Christmas movies.
I do. Marcelo Hernandez made me laugh a lot in this. Dad, I think he wants to kill me. That line just got me. Like the nervous there. So this is a playoff of a real thing for me. So, you know, you get married. I have kids. And sometimes there's noises, right? I live in a 165-year-old house. Sometimes there's noises. Or
I'm outside your window a lot.
Yeah. And my wife will wake up and be like, "Hey, did you hear that? You know, go check it out."
Go check it out.
And like I feel like, okay, so I have to do that. I don't want to do
You're
that.
6'5".
I know, but there's monsters out there, right? And so it's like, so
Yes.
There's monsters.
so I got to go do it, right? And I'm like, I'm just gonna call my dad or something. Right? And so you go out there and you're like, oh, I got this. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, I hope I don't.
Just
run
up here,
anybody.
just hyping yourself up in a 165-year-old hallway.
Yeah.
You could do this,
There.
Nate.
You're gonna. I'm coming down now. You know?
Nobody better be down there.
But what did you guys think of this? Did you like it? Let's start with you, Brad.
I felt like it went on a little too long. I really liked the first half, and I thought it was funny, and then I felt like it kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit. I do always appreciate when a sketch like this, though, puts a lot of effort into the production design and really does an incredible job emulating what it's doing a parody
It
of.
had a feel to it, right?
Yeah, it really did. And I like when they do that, appreciate it. But I just feel like maybe they were a little bit too, dedicated to that to realize that the sketch they were doing probably could have been trimmed up a little bit.
All right. What about you, Brad?
No, it's the same thing. When they're the family in Will Ferrell and Anna Gasteir's and Chris Kattan's sketch, I drive a Dodge Stratus. I'm an important man at work.
Yeah.
When the family's cutting the food,
Where you hear the glass or the
scraping
clink,
over it.
yeah.
That immediately came to mind when they cut to the family that was trying to keep it together. Unlike that sketch with Will Ferrell, that even though it went on pretty long, it's still, and they didn't really escalate. They just kept doing the same thing. It was still very funny because of the change ups of what they were actually saying.
Yeah.
This time, when they were changing up what they were actually saying, they weren't escalating, but it also wasn't getting funnier.
Right.
And so that's what, again, it speaks to the problem of it being too long. Also, what the hell was the ending?
Yeah.
That was so bad.
Yeah, the
Talk
ending was
about not
rough.
knowing how to end a sketch.
Yeah, the
you
ending
took a
was rough.
character that wasn't at all doing anything like that and they threw Mikey Day up against the glass like all sexual. That wasn't the bit. What happened?
Yeah,
there?
that was a. I'll give you that. That was a weird ending. See,
But no, okay. So sorry.
Where
it sounded like I was only shitting. I also really enjoyed the production value, and when they cut inside the very first time, and they could see him, I laughed hard. I was like, "Oh my god, that's really funny."
I think Andrew Dismukes, if we were able to ask him, I think he's also playing on some tropes in classic Christmas movies.
Oh, for sure.
The idea of looking into windows is a thing.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And so, but you've got these, looking in the window and you see your reflection. Yeah, nobody talks about that. There's somebody else there that can actually see you respond. And so that idea of playing on the trope, but actually what's on the other side of the window, I thought it was clever.
Brad, do you think that the reason it went on too long is because they spent all that time and effort building the set? They're like, this is
we got to make it worth it.
Exactly, this is worth it. We're going to keep going.
Maybe.
I agree, though. The ending didn't need it. Didn't,
No.
I honestly just didn't.
Also,
happen.
by the way,
the sketch was enough.
as we've just very clearly said, we're not funny writers. I don't know how you do end that. Maybe you just do the end. I mean, it doesn't need to be. I don't know. So weird.
I don't know if every sketch needs to end on a laugh either.
Right.
So they start the sketch with Austin Butler's character. Denise was her name, I think. Maybe the character. What happened to you and this girl, whatever. I forget what her name is. And then she comes in at the end, and Mikey Day's an angel. These kind of things. End on a happy note.
Andrew just stands up, does his big boy dance, and then the wife makes fun of him a little bit. Oh, that's right.
Or rolls her eyes.
And then clap, clap,
then
clap. I mean,
fade to black or something.
Come on, Brad. Write better.
All right.
Moving on. Marzipan, written by Allison Gates and Ken Sublett.
Marzipan.
An advertisement
Wow.
reveals the real sweet treat children yearn for during the holidays with Kenan Thompson, Chloe Feynman, Marcelo Hernandez, Austin Butler, Sarah Sherman, and Bowen Yang. What the hell was this?
What was this?
Conceptually, I understand what they're trying to do with this sketch, because I've always had this kind of perspective of marzipan where, like, I don't know why it's so prevalent in, like, candies and especially Christmas candies.
No, you
and stuff
haven't
like
thought
that.
about that.
I genuinely have.
No, I mean, hold on. Look at Brad's junk on Instagram is a thing. If anybody's going to think about that, it's Brad.
I don't get marzipan. No, I don't. So I conceptually I like the idea of the sketch.
Is it just crushed up almonds
Pretty much. It's like an almond paste.
Yeah.
with sugar in it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm honestly, I don't know.
No, this sketch is very accurate.
No, they were real marzipan treats there.
Yeah, exactly. And people do shape it.
So they
into
put them into different things. Okay.
Yeah, they do tons of stuff with that like that. It's but like it just went on. This was only like a 4-minute sketch, but it felt like it went on way too long. The one part that I thought was particularly funny though, well, I thought Kenan Thompson was pretty good in the sketch.
Bowen Yang.
Bowen Yang. The parts where they cut to him and he was just squealing like chaotically,
It really made me
I
laugh.
laughed so hard
I
at
really
that.
did.
And Kenan almost, he almost lost
Yeah.
character there.
It had you could have put Bowen Yang's reaction in any sketch and like that, and I'd laugh.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this was a terrible sketch, and
Yep.
that made it even better.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
That for me though is the byproduct of Bowen being Bowen, not a byproduct of a good, well-written sketch. So.
It was fucking weird. It was just weird.
Moving on, Jewish Elvis, written by Dan Bullitt and Sarah Sherman. A Jewish Elvis, played by Sarah Sherman.
Ben, why are you making this face?
Elderly citizens, Austin Butler, Cecily Strong, Ego Nwodim, and one of their grandchildren, Chloe Feynman Watson. According to the SNL Network Twitter page, Jewish Elvis, that sketch was originally cut at dress rehearsal from the Miles Teller Kendrick Lamar episode. So they've had this in their pocket for quite some time,
and it should have stayed there.
And they decided to bring
man,
it out
I am
here.
so glad that they saved it because I love this sketch. Austin Butler, first of all, was hilarious in this sketch.
Oh, he was great.
Seeing
great.
him in drag, the way he was acting, like just kind of a prototypical Jewish mother, the way he pulled off his underwear and threw it.
I will give him that.
Sarah Sherman as Jewish Elvis, hilarious to me.
Was it though? I thought at times it was like Italian Elvis. Like it didn't feel.
No, this is
stereotypically.
It is a stereotypical cliche. That's the whole idea of it.
I know. It didn't feel enough to me.
Also, I don't disagree that it was a stereotypical Jewish Elvis. It absolutely was, but it wasn't funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
Really?
I genuinely loved this sketch. I thought it was so funny.
Is it because
maybe I just don't get it.
do you have a lot of medicine in you?
No, I had zero medicine in me.
And you still thought it was funny?
I was laughing very hard. Especially with the stuff with Austin Butler and Cecily Strong and Ego Nwodum, and the way Chloe Feynman was like reacting because she didn't get it, and I liked it. I thought it was really funny.
All right.
Okay.
Fuck you guys.
No, I mean, hey,
you do you.
Yeah, you
know, Adam Sandler's still making movies.
Yeah,
and people are
PB
laughing
Halloween's
at
one of
him
your
and,
top 10.
you know.
I love it.
I didn't realize anti-Semitism was this rampant. It's fine. It's finally reached you guys. All right. So,
Weekend update. Weekend update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che tackle the week's biggest news, like Marjorie Taylor Greene complaining.
I'm sorry. Can we go back? You're telling me that you didn't think it was funny when Austin Butler and Cecily Strong were yelling at Bonnier and calling him fat?
Yeah. No. Okay.
I thought that was fat shaming.
No, there were absolutely funny parts of it. This is not the worst sketch tonight.
No.
Him in drag was really funny. I honestly just didn't get the Jewish Elvis thing, like the things that he was saying.
He was being a schmull, like a prototypical like cheesy Jewish comedian as Elvis.
I know, but that's not necessarily funny. So there needs to be something to happen on top of it.
He's performing for old women in like a Las Vegas showroom stage that is in a nursing home.
But it was clear they were like.
I mean, these blue suede shoes. Am I right? And it's like, okay, and then what's the joke? Like, because that's the setup. So what's the punchline? And there was just like the punchline is, I'm getting wet.
I thought it was so funny.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was hilarious.
Not sure why we had to go back and revisit that one, but all right. Weekend update. Weekend update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che tackle.
Wait a minute. You know what? Let's go back to that.
Tackle the news. The week's biggest news, like Marjorie Taylor Greene complaining that people can buy sex toys at Target, something Ben has known for a long time, and a humpback whale traveling 3,000 miles with a broken spine.
To be fair, anything at Target can be a sex toy.
Also, you can buy sex toys at Speedway. So
is it true?
Yeah. Have you ever used a 5-hour energy?
Oh boy.
Hey-o.
So I'm gonna guess again, as we ask Brad each week, if there was enough chemistry between.
Here's a new one. I don't know this week.
I do. Let me. Wait. I do.
Brad,
there wasn't enough.
Correct. And honestly,
you were so quick to point out, like, correct.
Honestly,
Colin Jost is depressed.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, you didn't realize
word.
this. Watch Colin. Go back and watch Weekend Update. Watch Colin Jost. He barely cracks a smile. He's so serious throughout the entire thing. He's not reacting to any jokes.
He's just sad about Cecily.
His delivery is very deadpan. Like he's not himself.
No, he seemed very serious and a bit almost unhappy.
Yeah, and I assumed it was because Cecily Strong was leaving, and especially because it seemed like it was kind of a surprise to everybody. And you really see it when we'll get to when we talk to it, is in the farewell. He looks so sad during the goodbyes. Like he's genuinely depressed.
So is it? Oh, are we breaking news here that Cecily Strong and Colin Jost are having an affair?
No, I think they are very, very close.
Yeah, though. I think they've been friends for a long time.
They've both been on the show forever.
So
yeah, they can.
Yes.
And at one time they were obviously good enough friends that they felt like they could collaborate and do Weekend Update, even though she didn't stick around, and do it. So
hearing a no.
Boy.
I will say this though, Michael Che looked like he was having fun.
Yeah, Michael just like, "Fuck that bitch, I'm out." Like he didn't care.
No, he just seemed like he was.
No,
there was
Michael Che.
Some great jokes that they had, and again, Colin Jost had a couple good jokes, but when he looks so sad, it's hard to laugh.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that everyone was like, "Hey, Colin, I really think we should cut the broken spine whale joke." Because it's almost punching down on an animal. It's a bad joke. It's not funny. It really is. It's making fun of an animal that is in pain and abused. And he's like, "That's how I feel this week. Leave it in."
Damn. Dark.
Seriously, I mean, that joke was horribly dark and not needed at all.
Yeah,
so weird.
There's usually
you haven't even seen Avatar: The Way of the Water yet, and you are just like all in on whale stuff.
What? It's like switch the animal. It's a broken spine dog that walked the nation.
Well, you can't pick dogs.
Why can't you pick dogs?
And here's dogs are like immediately sympathetic for everybody.
And here's the audio.
Should we be sympathetic of whales too?
No.
You'd listen to that and be like, "Oh my god, what a stupid fucking dog with a broken spine." The joke that's the worst joke I've ever heard on Weekend Update.
Here's the thing: the joke wasn't great because like it just felt like
This
that
wasn't a great joke.
using the old audio file just didn't really seem like it was worth doing that joke, regardless of the whales.
All right,
Hey, save the whales.
we've got 3 bits to get by for Weekend Update.
Okay,
so we
sorry.
can
I'm
move on.
sorry. Okay, Mr. Time Sensitive.
All right, Krampus on kidnapping naughty children, written by Will Steven and Bowen Yang. Krampus, played by Bowen Yang, stops by Weekend Update to discuss his job kidnapping and punishing bad children for Christmas.
Yes.
My culture is not your costume.
Dude, he's falling apart.
Bowen Yang just
Crushed it.
He's funny. I didn't think this was Bowen Yang's best Weekend Update.
But it didn't matter. It was so good.
But
yeah, his recovery from the costume malfunction
Yep, exactly.
made it that much funnier, and it added a layer that like should have been an intentional joke, but became
God.
one of the funnier bits because it wasn't.
They needed that to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not like it was floundering
it was one of the
horribly,
only
but
times that I saw Colin Jost seem to actually
Yeah,
let go a little bit and have a little fun. Like he just again, and not that I read the Reddit thread and people are like, is there something going on? I don't think something's going on with Colin Jost. I think he was just sad. I
yeah,
think-
that's exactly
it's
what
like
it was.
one of your best friends in the entire world is leaving your show, and you just kind of hit you probably 10 minutes before air.
Yep.
Granted, I feel like maybe he could like suck it up a little bit because he's married to Scarlett Johansson.
Also, you're a professional on Weekend Update, and you're a professional comedy writer, so maybe just stop being a piece of shit. I'm just joking. No, of course we
I
would
think-
do the same thing.
Yeah. We'll
We're
talk a little
just
bit about
joking.
Poor Colin
Josty.
Jost had to go home and cry on the shoulder of Scarlett Johansson in his bed.
All right. Moving on, Colin's great aunt Pat on holiday etiquette, written by Jimmy Fowley, Heidi Gardner, and I think it's Sierra O'Sullivan or Kara. I'm sorry.
Now let's do a real deep dive into this one, guys. Let's spend
Oh,
an
no.
inordinate amount of time here.
Ben was sitting there wishing that he was Mikey Day throughout this entire sketch.
Absolutely was, and not for the lipstick.
Obviously not for lipstick. I was talking about the penis tickling.
Okay. So did you guys?
That's what she was doing.
Did you find the boops on the gooch weird?
The boobs on the. Okay, first of all, okay. Well, hold on. I know that you're Hapasternate, and
For a second, I thought you said boobs on the gooch, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
She calls it a boop on a gooch.
Yeah.
But again, the gooch is not what she was touching. What's
No, but that is what she said.
That's
I
what she
know.
called it.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
just-
definitely not the gooch.
I want
I
to
know,
just
but
make
that's what she
very
called
clear.
it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but because
It got aggressive.
It got aggressive. It was funny at the first time, and then I'm like, okay, come on now.
No, I thought it was.
No,
I thought it was
great,
hilarious
yeah.
the whole way through. Yeah.
I think that these were.
I mean, there were people that were like, come on, she's making light of sexual assault here, right? Online. I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
no,
But
not at
I
all.
wouldn't go that far at all. This is hilarious because these are professional, funny people that love each other, clearly having so much fun.
Yeah.
And if you know that part of it, then you're going to give all the carte blanche to them to do whatever
Yeah.
they want, which we all do, know and love. So we're like, yeah, this is hilarious. Her accent, by the way, whatever the fuck that was
Yeah.
amazing.
So you like this as a whole?
I really did.
I didn't
Yeah.
love this. I
thought it was pretty funny.
I thought there were some funny parts in it. I didn't get it. Like
I think that I was just kind of maybe in the mood to watch friends having a good time. And honestly, because that's what this was. If you take it on its face value, is it a good sketch if these are strangers and you don't know
well, it's
anything
not a
about?
sketch at all. It's just a bit.
You know what I mean? But it doesn't have the same effect whatsoever. Skip boy.
Colin.
Colin.
No, I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, moving on. Cathy Ann says goodbye for now. Written by Cecily Strong, Ked Sublet. Cathy Ann, a famous character played by Cecily Strong, stops by a Weekend Update to reflect on her time on Saturday Night Live. That is a spicy meatball.
Did anybody else just automatically assume that by the end of the sketch, the cigarette would be lit?
No.
So I did.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
I
No.
said it out loud to Bailey. I said, I paused it. I said,
Okay,
she's going to light the cigarette.
You're better than us.
I
You're
know.
better.
I'm pointing it out. I want to know. Joe Wicker, big fan of the show. Joe, did you think she was going to light the cigarette? I just want to know.
I didn't. What did you guys think of this bit?
Of course, it's Cathy Ann is one of Cecily Strong's most reliable characters. She's hilarious. It's the one.
She was getting emotional a couple times, though. I could tell.
Oh, for sure,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and plus you have the moment where she like
Drops the fourth
full on
wall.
breaks
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
and like is herself, and then goes back to being Cathy Ann. And so yeah, it was a great way for her to say goodbye, doing it with one of her best original characters. I will say I wish that we had gotten more of the girl you wish you hadn't started a conversation with at a party
I agree.
in recent years, but
I
that was a
agree.
character she kind of left behind.
It's
after
one
a
of my
while.
favorite. It
Yeah.
is. I just love that character.
Yeah, but no, this was a perfect way for her to go out on her own terms at at the Weekend Update desk where she did a lot of great stuff.
All right, moving on. White Elephant, written by Alex English and Gary Richardson. Things don't go as expected during a White Elephant gift exchange at a holiday party. It stars Austin Butler, Cecily Strong, Heidi Gardner, Andrew Dismukes, Ego Nwodum, Devin Walker, and Mikey Day, who plays Santa Claus. I want to say this unequivocally. I loathe White Elephant exchanges. I hate fun, though.
Yeah, I was just in part of one on Saturday night, and I had a great time.
Yeah, no, I hate fun. So I don't love them. But I have this thing where I don't like to open presents in front of people.
So steal.
Well, you still have to open it eventually.
No, it's already opened.
It's open.
I know, but I don't like that process. I don't like it. So, but I did like Austin Butler in this sketch. I thought he did some funny things in this sketch.
I think this sketch had a lot of potential if they would have taken it in a different
how
direction.
would you have wrote it?
Yeah, Brad.
better? Yeah.
So basically, it feels like that. It feels like that they made a change to end the sketch early, and that's why they cut to Mikey Day as Santa Claus, which was an awful, terrible ending. It felt abrupt. It felt sudden. Those two words mean the same thing.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because I liked where. I wanted it to continue and for every gift to get open and have it be an ashtray and have him be equally like, oh my God, guys, this is like, his reaction like was so fun to me. It was so genuine and just like the way he was so like passionate about how much he likes. Like, guys, this is even better. You know?
So the first one that he opens, right, and the I think the joke is going to be, of course, what we all thought. He's so impassioned about this first one, and now the sketch is he's pissed.
Yeah.
For the rest of the time. Of course, they were very, very funny when they wrote this thing, and the next one is even better.
Exactly.
Whatever. And that's the kind of escalation the sketch always needs. And again, I wish they would have kept going, but yeah, it ended so haltedly.
I loved the aside too that they had. That I feel like they could have kept going too when he was like, "No, you need that candle because we all know your house smells." You know?
yeah, like the ridiculously honest. True to life. Oh man.
But yeah, it just and all of a sudden it just like totally
his character
derailed.
His character work was excellent in
and
this sketch.
It felt like it had momentum, and then all of a sudden, nope, sketch is over.
Now, do you think they did that because they were pushed for time and they made a change?
I honestly, to me, that's how it felt. I feel like that they had to cut this one short, and this was the way that they figured out to quote unquote fix it.
Also, for some reason, this episode of our show right now. We are really diving into how we would make these sketches better, and in no way, shape, or form are we saying anything about the writing staff or anything like that? Because as we all know, they're putting this together in a week. It is some of the best and brightest minds in comedy right now. All compliments to them.
It's why I read their names, honestly, on the sketches, because I do respect the writers almost more than cast members.
We get the Monday morning quarterback the shit out of the show, and how dare us, honestly, propose fixes for this. I'm sure they're sitting around the next day, but what we could have done. Yeah, motherfucker, if I would have had time, but, wardrobe had already made the costume that way, and we couldn't, there's so many parameters we're not discussing here. I just wanted to point that out.
The sketches were trash, though.
But sometimes I do watch Steven Spielberg movies and say this is how Steven should have made a good film.
Yeah, honestly, I say that all the time.
I mean, that is my job.
That is true. All right, moving on. Jennifer Coolidge is impressed by Christmas stuff, written by Mike DeCenzo, Chloe Feynman, and Jake Nordwin. Jennifer Coolidge, played by Chloe Feynman, of course, talks about Christmas. It also stars Michael Longfellow and Punky Johnson. So Chloe Feynman does a Jennifer Coolidge impression.
It's very, very good.
It is good.
It is. It's good.
And Jennifer Coolidge is having a moment right now because of White Lotus.
White Lotus, and that is great.
And also, she's in a bunch of Old Navy commercials.
And also, she was Stifler's mom.
It's a good point.
So this
didn't love this.
This is a cross section of two things: great impression and time is right. And so they did it.
This would have been funnier
if
it was actually Jennifer Coolidge doing this.
Yep, I thought so too.
But having her just act like Jennifer Coolidge and do things that Jennifer Coolidge actually probably would say in a funny scenario.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a sketch, really.
Which I did see Jennifer Coolidge tweet that, she finally got on SNL because she actually auditioned many times to get on
If anything,
SNL.
That's what this made me think. I was like, wait a minute, why hasn't Jennifer Coolidge hosted SNL? That would be hilarious.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I would love to see that after the first of the year because she is having a moment. So.
Also, much like SNL is having a problem writing political stuff, are they having a problem like using impressions in an approachable and comedic way? Because all the sketches lately have been like, "Ooh, do that one."
Yeah, it is sometimes.
What is going on?
It does feel like sometimes that, hey, you do this impression.
And we're just going to let you do the impression, but we're not going to write anything.
I think that's always been a problem at SNL, though. Sometimes you have somebody who has a good impression and you try and figure out a way to use it, and it doesn't always work very well. Like, how many talk shows have they given to celebrities, because someone can do an impression of them,
But again, this is the time I'm okay with SNL repeating shit. Like, have a Celebrity Family Feud or Celebrity Jeopardy, or have the auditions for things.
Well, that's different. Those formulas are okay, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, do that instead. Don't do this.
Yeah.
I think they've actually done auditions at holiday episodes as well.
This is that without the structure or narrative of multiple people doing multiple impressions.
Yeah.
So you're taking one of them. Like let's say you took Bill Hader and said, hey, instead of Alan Alda being one of the people that is trying to try out for Star Wars, let's have him just only
host a Star Wars retrospective.
Exactly, the whole time for 5 minutes. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't understand why. And we're coming up with different ideas, but like why this wasn't a thing where it's like a Jennifer Coolidge Christmas special and like she has guests and you have other people come in and do impressions as well. I don't
understand. Yeah.
All right, moving on.
A lot left on the table on that one.
Moving on. Please Don't Destroy, guys. Wrote a sketch called Plurts, written by Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall. The boys create a shirt made of plastic, pitching the idea to first-time host Austin Butler. New cast members Devin Walker and Marcelo Hernandez join in on the fun, as does musical guest Lizzo. You guys know that I am huge fans of.
So we're going to start with you.
Oh, I laughed. I laughed a lot.
Where does this rank? If there have been 10 of these now, where is this in your?
There has been 10, I think.
Is this in your top 5?
Would that be? I would put it probably in the middle.
Okay. I think it's towards the top of the middle.
Yeah. I think it's certainly a good one. I laughed actually quite a bit at this. I love the Lizzo again. That Lizzo and Martin.
Hey, we all love the Lizzo.
Well, that kind of weird sexual tension that they play on.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh. Again, it's just they are masters at escalation, and so
and doing it economically.
Yep, and so
it's so good.
Again, even when it's not great, I still like it.
No, I don't know if you can tell. Overall, I didn't really love this episode. There wasn't a lot to write home about, so I was
except for Jewish Elvis.
When I saw a "Please Don't Destroy" video, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, oh, thank God. This one,
you could trust them.
Yeah, this one's probably going to be pretty good. Okay, finally, something good. Because honestly, other than a couple of bits of Weekend Update, all day.
No, the episode overall was not fantastic, but this Please Don't Destroy sketch I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
I especially liked Austin Butler in it too, because as the sketch went on, it went from him being like kind of like serious Austin Butler to him getting more and more like in disbelief and like yelling. He's like what's going on?
Right. It starts off with like, guys, I don't know that I would actually do something like this. To
like, you're dating Lizzo?
What? Like, yeah, escalation again. They are really good at it.
But again, there's something about Austin Butler that he can play endearing characters, even in sketches, where it is like a James Stewart type of endearing guy, where it's like you believe him, and when he seems outraged, you're like, oh my word, why is he outraged? And so I really think he brought
good sketch.
All right.
Whoa!
It snuck up on me.
Wow! Just make sure next time do it right into the microphone instead of just to the side of the mic. Okay. Want to make sure you hold on to that for later.
It shot out. I knew it was coming, and I had to like.
No, I say that to Bailey all the time.
Ew! He's talking about his jizz peen.
No, I cough a lot. Oh my God!
Jeez.
Moving on. Finally, Blue Christmas, written by Colin Jost, Will Steven, and Ken Sublett, sung by Austin Butler, and several cast members pay tribute to the departing cast member Cecily Strong. They start this in a what are they?
Radio Shack.
A Radio Shack, and obviously, do you think they wrote a sketch and then they just decided to do this instead? I thought it was a weird.
I feel like set design was like, we worked all week on this, and they're like, you know what, we're still gonna use it. Becky, don't quit. Hey, don't quit. Get back here. No, you don't even know what we're gonna do.
It did feel a little weird to me because I don't think they needed to. I think they could have came out and just
done it
and
on stage, poinsettias everywhere. Do the Kristen Wiig send off.
The cast members, we threw our money together. We couldn't get you real Elvis, but we got you this guy kind of thing. So I felt like there was a sketch somewhere there that they cut and said, we're going to do this, right? Colin Jost is one of the writers of this, so this is partly his idea, and I don't know if this is a late edition.
His depression came through for sure.
Well, what was interesting, did you see when he came and sang, Cecily Strong lit up, because I think he doesn't obviously want to sing.
No, God, no.
And she just lit up, and I thought that was very endearing because she was so excited to see him.
And I
sing.
guess I just, I host an SNL podcast, but I feel like
which one?
It's called the 1 to 10.
Okay.
It's the sketch that happens 1 minute to midnight. I didn't know that they were that close. I just didn't know that Cecily Strong and Colin Jost were that close. Clearly off air, real friends, real life. So I'm watching this episode going like, yeah, it's a little weird that Colin's a little upset. Like, what's going on? And then now I'm like, oh, that's why.
And again, I don't know, not to psychoanalyze what's happening for Colin Jost, but he's been on the show forever. I mean, I didn't realize it was like 2006 he came on the show.
Yeah.
As a writer first for many years and then became a cast member. And so all of the people I don't know if you've ever worked in a job before where it's like all the people you genuinely love working with are gone.
Yeah.
And so not that you don't like the new people, but those aren't the old people.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the old guard now it's him and Che and Keenan, and that's it. Like it's the rest of them are a lot younger and newer. So
and they're great, and I'm sure he loves them.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Because Mikey Day's been there for what, 5 years now?
Something like that.
And
5-6 years.
But
because he came with Alex Moffat. Now, Alex Moffat I think was
so even for a guy like Mikey Day, that's still he's a young pup compared to Colin Jost.
Of course.
Like I said, I didn't realize that he had been there for that long. I thought it was again really endearing to see some of the cast members. Keenan was clearly upset, and I'll read in a second Cecily's Instagram post because she mentions Keenan specifically in the post or one of the comments. But do
you think Che and or Jost leave at the end of the season?
I do.
No.
You don't think so?
I do.
I know. God, no. They're both staying till 50.
No, I think they leave.
Nope.
I don't know. I think that there's a potential for them to stay until 50 just because I don't think Lorne wants to try and get a new Weekend Update
exactly
team in there before they get to that milestone anniversary. But I also thought that a lot more cast members were going to stick around until 50, and we've lost 9 now.
Yeah, we've lost a ton.
Sure, I just think that
I thought Cecily would stay. Honestly,
yeah,
I did.
The core Weekend Update guys though that's a very important linchpin for the show.
Yeah,
and I feel like he will do, like Lorne, and you're right, they might leave, but he will do everything in his power to keep them.
And their jobs are easier now. They're not head writers, right?
And that probably was part of the deal. Like, hey, you know what? Why don't we guys not be head writers? We'll take the stress away. You guys can just do Weekend Update until 50, and then you guys can do
or have fun if you want to write a sketch, write a sketch.
And honestly,
that's why that's why I've been thinking they're going to leave in that.
Yeah, their
jobs is essentially give me a transition year where I can replace you. Stay around the cast.
I'm saying it because I don't want it to happen.
But yeah. I don't know. And maybe that's why Colin Jost is sad though, because again, he's not leaving. Right? There's no exit for him. He's staying. Not that he's sad to stay at SNL, but again, another friend's going and he's not.
All he has is Scarlett Johansson to go home to.
I feel like Michael Che has a more burgeoning career outside of SNL that he would be the one that would be the reason that they would both leave.
Yeah, well, Michael Che is also a stand-up comic, right?
But yeah, no, I mean, he's got more prospects outside of the show, meaning I've seen him do more things.
But again, though, Colin Jost has what again? Say that again, Brad.
Scarlett Johansson.
Again, but he doesn't really, career-wise, I mean, he's probably going to write movies or direct, right? He's not going to
but again, though,
star in anything.
Brad, what does he have?
They're not going to Jimmy Fallon it where he's like, Taxi.
All right, so I wanted to read...
Was it called Taxi?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cecily Strong did write on Instagram after the show. This is what she said. My heart is bursting. I have a lot of big, huge, life-changing love to unpack, so this is what I can say tonight. 10.5 years ago, I got my dream job. The first actual work day, I tried to be very cool and make it look like I knew what I was doing, and I was supposed to be there. I left that night around 11 after saying goodbye to everyone. I got stuck wandering around the building because none of the elevators went to the first floor. And I was trying so hard to avoid having to go back upstairs to ask for help because I'd already said goodbye to everyone. I think I went to every floor trying to figure out if there was another exit I was missing. I might have even gone into a stairwell. I ended up going back upstairs, and my soon-to-be great friend, Colin Jost, helped me out and walked me over to the secret nighttime elevator. It felt as impossible to leave that night as it does now, and my great friend Colin Jost ended up helping me again, this time by getting Elvis to sing me off. Thank you, Austin Butler, you absolute kind and generous dreamboat. I'm sorry I've been a little quiet about it publicly. I didn't want the extra pressure on something already so emotional for me. And I'm so grateful I got to have these wonderful past 6 shows to help me ease into it and get to meet and laugh and probably overly hug Molly, Marcelo, Devin, and Michael, who I think are not only brilliantly funny, but really great humans. I'm ready to go, but I'll always know home is here. I've had the time of my life working with the greatest people on earth. And so, again, speaks to her, I think, affection for Colin Jost.
Yeah.
She also, Keenan wrote, I think, a couple hearts, and then she wrote, my number one role model. She wrote this to Keenan. You taught me how to do this, and more importantly, how to do it with kindness and support and encouragement for others. Thank you for all those Sunday texts. I think the world of you, my friend, and I'm honored to have gotten to stand next to you up there for so long. So I think Cecily's also just a kind of a beloved cast member.
Oh, yeah.
She seems very kind, very supportive of her fellow cast members. And so, you know, when she leaves, there's definitely a hole there, not only for her talent, which is just incredible. I think somebody on my Twitter said, you know, they were kind of surprised that I said Cecily Strong, I think is just, you know, especially in the last 20 years, one of the best cast members. And I think that because she's so flexible, right?
Yeah.
She could do so much. She can sing. Her voice is great. She can, you know.
She's great as voiceover.
The voiceover
Her
stuff,
voiceovers are I mean, honestly, a skill in her voiceover.
It's the
work.
problem of
She's
when you can and do everything.
Yep.
Right. Then you are not a everybody's gonna be like, wow, you know, when Chloe Feynman leaves, oh my God, she was such a good impressionist, right? That's what the show is losing. But you can't put your finger on what you're losing with Cecily Strong because you're losing everything.
Almost every sketch had, I mean, because again, I keep track of how many people are in each episode, and Cecily Strong.
Oh, that's a little creepy, but okay.
And honestly, would have 6 or 7 sketches where her hands were in that in some way. And so that is just a huge, huge impact.
You're not gonna know. Well, she did take some time off here and there, you know, in the last year. When she was on,
she did a play,
yeah. So we saw what that was like, but we still had Adie Bryant and Kate McKinnon. You know, we still had some other people. Now with this, like when we come back from break and the next show, and Cecily's gone, and now it's only the quote unquote new cast
and I'm
members.
very excited.
I
about
am,
them,
of course, but wow, this is now you don't have Adie or Kate or Cecily. Heidi, you know, of course, I joke around about how much I love her. Is she ready to be that every woman? Like, because that's what Cecily can be for this guy, and that's what Kate could do and Adie could do. They could really play the straight man or whatever. I don't know who's
because Sarah
step up?
Sherman is not an every woman, right? What Sarah Sherman does really well, she does really well. She is the chaos, right?
She's not an every woman in the way that Cecily Strong is, I think, but I do think Sarah Sherman has shown that she can play a straight woman character, and certainly she disappears into like characters that don't require her.
That I didn't know it was
persona.
her. Honestly,
yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely. But when it's a Sarah Sherman crazy character, and you're looking for a straight woman,
of course,
you know, Heidi would be it, Chloe would be obviously, but like, what else are you gonna do there?
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
So Cecily Strong came onto the show in 2012. Who were the other cast members that joined in 2012? They're all gone now. She's the last one, obviously, because she was on the show for so long. But who were the other ones that came in 2012?
Was that
there are 4 of them.
Sudeikis?
Yeah, I was gonna say Sudeikis.
No.
Was it Hader?
No.
Was it?
I will give you
Forte.
There were 3 girls, 3 women, and 1 male.
Adie Bryant.
Correct. 1.
Kate McKinnon.
Correct. 2.
I mean, somebody who probably didn't last.
He only lasted a season.
As long. John Ratzenberger.
John Ratzenberger.
Shit, what's his name? John Rudnitsky.
John Rudnitsky.
No.
Brooks Wheelan.
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson.
Who, thank God, left SNL.
Yeah.
Because
the best thing for him.
So much better off of SNL.
Yeah. So,
but if you, okay, by the way,
that was the 2012 class. What a class, honestly.
If you guys are listening to this podcast right now, and for some reason you have never seen Tim Robinson and Jason Sudeikis in Round Ball Rock, you just go ahead, just do yourself a favor. YouTube, Round Ball Rock, SNL, and just laugh.
And furthermore, beyond the SNL history of Tim Robinson, go watch I Think You Should Leave.
On
his
Netflix.
sketch show on Netflix. It's short form. Episodes are like 12 to 15 minutes long.
It's ridiculous.
It is ruckusly hilarious.
Oh my
I love that show. You've probably already seen memes online.
Sure,
if
you must have.
If you've seen Tim Robinson in the hot dog suit saying, "We're just trying to find out who this guy is,"
Would
that's
almost
from
do better on SNL now.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
Because him and Sarah Sherman could speak the same language.
For
I
sure.
think. All right, we're gonna get to the MVP. We always ask, at least for the last couple of weeks anyway, what your MVP or favorite sketch was of this episode. I want to read some responses from our Twitter page. Lando Rock says best sketch probably the black and white guy at the window one. Again, I thought it was funny too. Lando MVP Chloe Feynman. Meow Mix 10 says Austin was MVP. The It's a Wonderful Life sketch and Jewish Elvis were the best. America 1978 says Jewish Elvis was the best this season. That's a bold claim.
It's okay. The best this
season.
season. Maybe they meant this Christmas season.
I don't know about Nate. I know you pay attention to this more than Ben does. Did you see the thread in the Facebook group where people were talking about the Austin Butler episode and they were like, "Oh my gosh, funniest episode of the season." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?"
Why do people suck?
Yeah. And then
this wasn't even half as good as the Martin Short Steve Martin episode, and that wasn't as good as the Kiki Palmer episode.
But I can tell you this. A lot of people didn't love the Kiki Palmer episode like we did
What?
in that group.
That's bonkers.
They are
bonkers. They're wrong.
absolutely. They're racist.
They don't like comedy. They're flat out wrong.
All right, let's go to
They're anti-pregnancy and they're anti women of color. And
Let's
I'll
do
say it.
sketch of the night first, a sketch of the episode.
Oof.
We'll start with you, Brad. What did you think?
We all know.
it's
No,
your
you don't
show.
actually. Please Don't Destroy was my favorite.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
You
please
don't
don't-
usually pick. I
Yeah, it's a
often pick them,
pre-tape.
but
It's
you
a pre-tape, Brad.
Pre-tapes are fine. Pre-tapes are always fine.
just
For-
not bits from the
yeah, just not weekend update segments.
Well, you change your.
So yeah,
tune on
Please
that
Don't Destroy was the best sketch of the night, followed closely by Jewish Elvis.
How closely? Closely or no?
Not closely, but it was. I thought Jewish Elvis was very, very funny.
All right. What about you?
one. I thought he was
Benny
going to
Moore?
make fun of me for saying "Please don't destroy." It was my favorite.
No, it's the best sketch of the night.
It's you're right.
I'm gonna actually agree with Lando, and I think it was Meow Mix 10 that It's a Wonderful Life was my favorite. I like that one.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
it's wrong, but it's okay.
all right. MVP of the night. We'll start with you, Benny.
I mean, it's so tough to not pick Cecily Strong.
I picked her.
so-
It's
so-
cheating, I know, but
so I didn't.
I did.
I put her as honorable mention because, of course, it's her night. But Bone Yang was awesome in the marzipan and at the weekend update desk.
Marzipan sucked.
No, wait. Bone Yang
I know, but still,
was
he
the only
couldn't
reason
save
that
it.
I laughed. And as the Krampus character was hilarious.
It was good. That was good.
I really like Bone Yang this week.
Oh.
Yang Bone, whatever.
All right. What about you, Brad?
Devin Walker for me was the MVP. He crushed it.
Cool.
No, I'm just kidding. I gave it to Cecily Strong just because. I mean,
It'll be the last time I can ever pick her, and I feel like I do need to pick her.
and she was great throughout the
No,
entire
yeah,
evening.
no,
I
absolutely.
mean,
No, she earned it. But
Cathy Ann was. I really did enjoy. This is a more send-offy, obviously, way of doing it, but much like she broke character when she did the abortion clown bit, and then most recently, what was the
trucker.
Yep. So she broke character in both of those. She broke character in this one, and
This was different though.
no, exactly, and not for a political point or a social point, but just to say goodbye. And she does that breaking of character better than anybody, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it was awesome to see her do that the first few times. This was the best way to do that, and I was really happy to see her do it.
all right. Well, that's all we have for you right now. When is the next live?
we don't know
episode?
when we'll be back.
March 27th.
They haven't announced. It'll be sometime in January, probably mid to late January.
Who do you think might get the hosting?
I really don't know. It's tough to say. You know, they haven't really been getting like huge names for the hosts this season.
So Oscar season is upon us,
Uh-huh.
right? We're gonna get a few Oscar Beatty type movies coming out, but I think that we should go with Jennifer Coolidge.
I would love to see
I would
Jennifer
love to see
Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
I would love to see Quinta Brunson host.
Oh, that would be a lot of fun.
Who is Quinta Brunson?
She is the creator and star of Abbott Elementary.
If you've not seen it,
Oh,
it might
yes.
not be a show that you think you would love. It is so well written.
It's so funny. So funny.
Yeah.
I laughed harder than I have at any
Also,
comedy
somebody
pilot.
that genuinely loves Saturday Night Live. I know she would love to be on it. So
Yeah,
I've
it would be
heard her
very
in
cool.
Interviews talk about it. So she would love to be on it. Yeah. Is Bill Hader have a new season of anything coming out?
There is a new season of Barry, but it's a little ways off.
I want Bill Hader and Vanessa Bayer.
I would love to see
just what I
them.
wanna see.
Maybe get Christina Ricci to come in because the new season of Yellow Jackets is coming to Showtime.
She was
and
on a great
Wednesday.
show called Wednesday too.
What's that?
Well, it comes after Tuesday.
Oh, so it's like a weekday show.
Yep, and it's before Thursday.
Okay, that's pretty. I like the sound of that.
There you go.
So,
I like structure.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what major films are coming out in the first quarter. We should know this from our other podcast, Go Fix Yourself.
Right.
But I'm sure there's some really good ones coming out and TV shows.
Cillian Murphy.
Have Megan
Oh,
host.
Cillian Murphy would be interesting. Cillian Murphy.
from
that would-
Oppenheimer doesn't
Oppenheimer.
come out until like July or June. Though.
Yeah, but he needs to hit the ground running,
I think have Megan host.
running away from the atomic
Who?
bomb.
The robot Megan.
Oh.
Actually, she'll just be the musical guest, and she just dances in that weird way.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
great.
down.
All right. It'll be interesting to see what they pick. Hopefully, we'll have a new episode out, though, before you know it, in mid-January. We might get bored, and we'll maybe do another episode of who we like the best in the first. Who knows? But do follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Do comment. We always honestly love it. Review and rate the podcast. We share that, and it's like Christmas Day for us whenever we
It really
get a
is.
new rating.
Text it to each other like, "Oh my God, somebody actually listened."
Yeah, and so as the podcast grows, we really do love hearing from our listeners. There was one of you commented again. You're one of the only people you know that watches SNL, and so we're like a community to watch it with you, and that's the whole goal, right? Is that
Yeah, like I wish my friends in real life watch the show, but they don't.
the
And
three of
so
us love SNL,
Yeah.
and we just love building the community of
I
people.
believe
that do as
it's
well.
Saran wrap, not Saran wrap, but Saran wrap.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, awesome.
Well, thank you so much for
We
listening.
appreciate that comment.
All right, you guys have anything else to add before we go? Brad, where can people find you online?
Slashroom.com, where you can find my reviews of SNL. You can check out my full review of this episode and all the previous episodes and some of the future episodes
Yeah,
too.
good for you.
Yeah, it's something I do.
You got it going on.
Yeah, at Ethan_Anderton on Twitter. And of course, you can check out my junk. Look at Brad's junk on Instagram. Snacks, soft drinks, collectibles, dildos.
Wow.
Not dildos, just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Somebody went shopping at Target. All right, so you can find us on the 10 to 1 podcast. Just look for us on Twitter and Facebook. Ben and I are on there as well. You can find us.
Hey, if you're in the Chicagoland area and you want to drive about 60 miles east, come on down to Full Tilt Arcade and Pinball in LaPorte, Indiana. It's my arcade that I legitimately own. And
Is there a Saturday Night Live pinball machine?
There is not a Saturday Night Live pinball.
Hard
machine, Brad.
pass.
I'm sorry, buddy. There isn't one, okay?
it is a lot of fun.
But
You
we
did
got
a great job.
65 arcade games. You come out and have a good time.
And let us know that you listen to the podcast,
Yeah.
and that's why you're there.
And you'll get a discount.
I will
Yeah, hey,
honest to God, if you can show me your driver's license and you're from at least 60 miles away, I will put it out there that I will give you a $30 gift card for our arcade. If you walk in the door and say, like, I listened to the SNL podcast, I'm here for my fucking card, I will hand it to you. I promise.
Or how about however much gas it takes them to get there?
No, I like mine better.
So, all right. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great holiday. We'll be back sometime in January. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.